This episode of this podcast, the slogan here is, if you're going to mess with any fan base, for the love of all that's holy, please do not mess with the Swifties. They will get you. They will take you down. And if you're listening to this as a Swiftie, I'm with you guys. Please do not take us down. I don't know what we did, but please, guys, we know your power.
You've made it to Not Billable, the Lawtrades podcast that brings you bite-sized legal and business news updates, full event replays, and conversations with legal pros about what's going on behind the scenes every week. Stop the clock, put the timesheet down. It's time to get started.
So, let's start out with Taylor Swift. She announced earlier this month, after 4 years, she's going to go back on the road in 2023. She's going to put on a tour. Her pre-sale opened up on Ticketmaster shortly thereafter. Within minutes was sold out. Something like 900 stadiums worth of people tried to log on and buy tickets. Crashed Ticketmaster system. The secondhand market was selling tickets. I think I saw something for like $34,000 a piece. Insane stuff. And you piss off the Swifties, they're going to come for you. Now we have the DOJ and senators and all these people going after Ticketmaster and Live Nation saying, hey, you guys are a monopoly and this does not work.
It is. Well, first off, 100%, right? Most of these tickets are sold through Ticketmaster. Live Nation, I think, is owned by Ticketmaster. I've heard the reports from folks. I've seen it on Twitter where people were stuck in the queue for hours, days, infinity, and beyond, so they could never get their tickets. And now, I love it. You've pissed off a fan base that's so. What's the best way to put it? Rabid. They're listening to this. They're going to come after us next. So I think it's. I'll say this. There's a lot of lawyers that are Swifties, so they
no shade.
They know their rights. I'm sure there's a number of antitrust lawyers that are huge Taylor Swift fans that are like, guys, I know the law on this topic, and we were waiting for this moment to happen, where finally we get to mobilize in the name of Taylor Swift. So the wrong fan base to have this problem. It's very interesting to see. Especially in the age where we're looking at antitrust issues, mostly in tech, right? We've talked about this in the past where we've seen the Department of Justice take a much closer look at bigger tech companies, whether it be like app store issues or advertisement. So it's interesting to see tickets, right?
But this is not like a new thing. You go all the way back to the 90s with Pearl Jam, and Pearl Jam was the first people to say, hey, Ticketmaster is becoming something of a monopoly here. Then when Ticketmaster and Live Nation merged, people were already saying back then, hey, this is going to be a big problem. This is a monopoly. And the DOJ agreed. And they said, we'll approve this merger, but we have, a litany of stipulations you need to follow. The problem is, how do you monitor, unless something goes wrong, like with this Taylor Swift situation, how do you monitor kind of like these internal stipulations and what's going on? So it's been a few years and...
Sure. I'm sure there's some sort of right, like a consent order in place or a settlement agreement of some kind, right? I would assume there's probably a Department of Justice lawyer that's tasked with that, or some sort of manager in place, like legal analysts that make sure that things are in compliance. There probably are some sort of checks where it's like every year you certify that this has occurred or this has occurred or you've divested interest in this. That said, to your point, I'm shocked that we haven't seen much more of a fight over the last couple of years. But again, also to your point, like it takes a big event for everyone to finally be like, well, wait a minute. And usually that big event is a merger, not, right? Like in the past, Office Depot and Staples were set to merge together, and that triggered an antitrust issue, which ultimately I think the DOJ said, no, you cannot merge. Here it's Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is the trigger for.
But listen, you need, like, it's not going to be some small artist who doesn't have much pull. You need somebody as massive as Taylor Swift or Beyonce or whomever.
Yeah.
If you'll remember, Taylor Swift went after Spotify a few years ago to try to change the game there. And now, her fan base, again, being large enough, might be going after Ticketmaster to change that system.
This episode of this podcast, the slogan here is, if you're going to mess with any fan base, for the love of all that's holy, please do not mess with the Swifties. They will get you. They will take you down. And if you're listening to this as a Swiftie, I'm with you guys. Please do not take us down. I don't know what we did, but please, guys, we know your power.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out also on LinkedIn and Twitter to keep up to speed with what we're doing. Catch you on the next one.